Well, no, I was just saying, like, I believe that, we all are living embodiments of God. So no matter what you believe in, unless you don't believe in God or don't believe in a higher power in general, I believe that we all are that embodiment of whatever you would believe in as God. But it's like I said, it depends on what you believe in and what your faith is, which makes it subjective.
Now that was cool what you said, because there's a part of that I agree with. He said you embody what you believe is God, right? So our people that worship money, they just as superficial.
Yeah,
It's paper, right? And it loses value depending on where the market's at that controls that money.
and you embody that materialism, that materialistic, understanding.
So you mimic it, and you go wherever it goes. People that worship ass, they start to resemble ass. Their personality becomes ass, and it's something that they exude, right? But not everybody embodies the Most High God.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to get at, and we willing to debate and defend His existence. And let our people know that when we say they the chosen people of God, we talking about that one, the one that created the heaven and earth, the one that's written about in the Bible. Let me get Deuteronomy 28:1 real quick. Because what I'm getting at is that there's one truth, different perspective. Right? And it's okay that there's different perspective, but we have to have what's called peak perspective, like a CEO. Like the CEO has to see the bigger picture. That's our responsibility. You want to bring that out?
This Deuteronomy 28:1. And it shall come to pass, if thou wilt hearken diligently unto the Lord, and to the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So when you look at us, where do we sit on the plateau? Like, where are we at when you look
Bottom
at
of the food chain.
Bottom of the food
We're
chain.
talking about the U.S., Western civilization, bottom of the food chain.
There you go. And wherever else we scattered, we come out the lowest of the low. But we bring the most spice, the most flavor to the table.
Yeah, I mean, we create culture.
You see?
And that's the thing I always argue, especially with white people, because I don't believe that, people of color can be racist. I also don't believe that, we can be canceled in the culture we create.
That's cold. That's cold. I would argue that we could be racist, but we're not in a position to practice racism.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can argue that we can be
prejudiced.
We can be prejudiced,
and we should
in a malicious manner, which is, I mean, blurred line between racism and prejudice, right?
Yeah.
But we just don't have that system of power that supports us practicing racism.
What we trying to do is we trying to push racism. And when I say that, it don't mean about doing bad shit to other people. It's about having a preference for our own people. Like when you look in this Torah right here, it talks about interest. You're not supposed to charge your brother interest on a loan, but you can do it to the other people. That's how you strengthen your economy. That's what the Jews do. The foremost bankers of the world, they're giving predatory loans out, and the people that benefit from it is them. You look at the major record labels.
Owned by Jews.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. They benefit off of us. So we want to learn how to benefit
off of us killing each other.
There you go. That's the whole point right there. But it starts with peak perspective. It starts with us realizing we share a common truth. That this world that we dealing with was created by one God. He gave a set of instructions to a certain people, and that with those instructions, those certain people can rule the world. Like he just read, he'll set us on high above all the nations. But you and me, we have the testimony that we're at the bottom, which would tell us what? We must not be doing what?
We must not be doing something right.
We must not be doing something right. We must be breaking the laws of God. Now, if it's popular culture for me to fuck your girl and you to fuck mine, we brag about it. Maybe somebody want to spin the block about it, and it's just another day. And we
just another life lost.
Another song to be written, right? Another T-shirt to be pressed up, and then everything just continues as planned. So we got to break out of that. You know what I'm saying? We need you to be a part of that.
And I'm all about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about that. I'm all about that. I make music too, but the music I make is mostly love music. I really don't even listen to rap like that, just because everything you hear nowadays is about killing each other. Shit is getting kind of ridiculous, but I just maybe a month or so ago, I lost my cousin. He got murdered in Garland. And then the night of his funeral, one of my homeboys got murdered out here. So
my condolences.
I appreciate it,
Man.
but that shit it's been heavy on my mind, bro.
Yeah, man.
And it makes me not want to listen to niggas like Deut and it's niggas like, you know what I mean? Like certain shit I don't care to listen to because that shit. When you really got dead homies, like you really got dead homies.
Yeah.
Like you don't know how to deal with, you don't know how to cope with situations like that. Especially as a black man, like I don't have the fucking resources, bro, to get insurance. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have the resources to get therapy, and I love therapy, but it's something that we all need. You know what I mean? And we've all needed for a real long time. I come from a real hard place, bro.
Where you from?
I'm from Houston, Texas.
H-Town.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Everywhere we at, man. Like, what other nation glorify fucking off their own people?
I can give you the answer.
None. Like especially not the Jews.
The white man might do it in cowboy movies and shit like that. He might do it when he talk about World War II.
It's not comparable.
It's not comparable.
The systematic racism that's caused us to be the savages that they create.
Who put the crabs in the barrel?
And what you expect them to do?
Who told us that we was crabs? Right, so we doing that footwork, man. So what we want, if I'm gonna be completely frank and forward, is you gonna make your music. Keep doing that shit. But what I want to do is be constructive too in your life to say, hey, some things you gotta adjust, and you do it for the Most High, so that He can do for you and use you to do for Him. Because as much as we want to heap up knowledge for ourselves, it's nothing if we can't distribute it. So we can't do it from the place of hypocrites. Like I can't go up. Exactly. I can't walk to my brother and be like, hey, God said don't eat pork, but I'm still eating pork sandwiches and shit. I can't say God said keep the Shabbat because your ass need rest, and you got a toxic hustle mentality that you need to reverse. If I'm still not keeping the Shabbat.
That's the problem I'm trying to fight right now. I work 7 days a week, bro. I'm a tattoo artist.
That's PTSD right there. That's the manifestation of you having anxiety. You don't know what to do with but work. But money ain't gonna answer your problems. You just gotta keep your head down and keep moving forward. That's what we've been programmed to do. Toxic hustle mentality. What you gotta do is apply yourself to this work. Why? Because it's gonna fulfill you a lot more. How can I say that? Because look, I'm from Seattle. I used to do this. I came out here so I could do this, but I was out on the corners, I would rob on, trying to give back what I used to take. I used to be addicted to jacking. How did I get like that? Because I'll go to school, people would make fun of my shoes. And when I came into it, I was a sheltered kid. So I started getting beat up on. They make fun of you. If they can get away with making fun of you, they beat you up. So what I had to learn to do, be funny and fight. And that's a toxic thing I took with me. So I started robbing niggas for their shoes at school so they couldn't make fun of me no more. But that becomes an addiction. And the scriptures say that God don't give us the spirit of fear, what causes you to become addicted to shit like that. He gives you the spirit of power, the power to say, I don't gotta go with the crime. I can change the whole game now. Right? So I can sit and look at you and say, look, there's some shit you're going to switch up, and I can help you do it. Because I know how to navigate certain things, and whatever I don't know about your experience, somebody do. And I can acquaint you with it. Because you got a purpose. Your purpose is to first look up in the mirror and say, God gave me a certain set of instructions, follow them, so that we can change the way shit is. Let me get Lamentation 5 and 7 for him. Because look, we can play the game and say, hey, there ain't nothing I can do about it by myself. But what it took was millions of niggas just like us to think just like that has us where we at today. You know what I'm saying? Watch this. This is cold. You ever heard of bearing the sins of your father? Well, we got the proof of it. We can see it, but we can't explain why. At the church, the way they have us feeling is that God loves everybody, so why is this happening to me?
And as black people, we always chunk it up to generational curses.
Yeah, but we can't explain them though. They're like, it don't talk about generational curses in the Bible, so we go to other spiritualities. But the Bible does talk about generational curses. Watch this. I'm gonna show you the main one. That wind code.
Yeah. It says, our fathers have sinned.
Our fathers have broken the laws of God.
And are not.
And they're gone.
Right? And have borne their iniquities. We have
borne our fathers' iniquities. So our fathers decided to get into plantation politics. They decided to follow the white pastor. And now we're bearing their iniquity. Because we've been taught to hold hands with the people that would hold our hand and drag us around the corner and literally rape, rob, and murder us every chance they get. That's a small example. What if I told you the Bible talk about single parent households? What if I told you the Bible talk about slave ships as generational curses? He gonna show you. Watch this. And let me know when you out of time, huh? Let me know when you out of time. But this is the most important shit we can know. Why? Because not only do we know we have a purpose, but we know there's a belt being put to us for a reason, and now we can actually stop the belt. But it takes each one of us to stand up in great numbers and endure these things so the next generation don't have to. I'm gonna show you that as well. Watch this.
It's Deuteronomy 28. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother. This show black on black crime.
There you go. Look at 50, 60 years ago, brothers and sisters was very different towards each other, right? Look at the civil rights movement. We dealt with unity. Right, fast forward today, those same brothers that would have a delicate and tender approach to you, they now hate your fucking guts. You don't know why. You just know you worried about it, and you gotta be on your toes just in case a nigga would. Right? So you don't be a goddamn clothing line one day. Am I right? I'm not trying to be on the next t-shirt. I don't want nobody to airbrush my face on nothing. Right? I'm scared that people ain't gonna show up for my funeral. That's what we thinking when we 16 years old. I remember when I hit 18, I didn't think I was gonna be. I hit 18 and my anxiety skyrocketed because I said, I'm predicting that I'm not gonna make it to 18. After 18, I didn't know what to expect, and so I started trying to figure out how to die on my terms. That's called your life hanging in doubt. The Bible talks about that too. Show them you'll serve your enemies in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness.
This is Deuteronomy 28, and then
It's not Friday the 13th, but you can't get a tattoo.
not outside.
Matter of fact, go to 45, 28 and 45.
Yeah, that's what I was. I'm gonna do 44 too, real quick. It says, "He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail."
Talking about the strangers that surround us. So people move in your neighborhood don't look like you. Like you got the Asians, they'll buy a store. The Arabs will buy a store. They'll sell you all this shit they don't want their children to have, right? He's getting up above you real high. You coming down lower and lower, right? And it seemed like how? You know, we are the most impoverished, but we spend the most money. How? How but by the design of God. Go ahead.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not to the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee.
That's cold. He said the other nations is going to look down on you, but these curses are going to follow you and overtake you. Take LeBron James, for example. Is he doing any better than us aside from money? This white woman told this nigga to shut up and dribble. Right? They put him on the front of a magazine playing like he King Kong, holding a white woman in his arms, calling the nigga a monkey to his face. You know what I'm saying? He ain't no better than us because these curses come upon us, they overtake us, and they chase us everywhere we go. You move to a new neighborhood, Houston's still chasing you. Those ghosts are still chasing you. You still having nightmares about that bullet that you couldn't stop. It took me to the bottom of a bottle and back. I used to have to drink to sleep. I used to have to drink to function. I used to have to smoke to go outside. And what kind of existence is that? Those curses came upon us. You see that? The curses came upon us and overtook us and pursued us. Right? So now we have answers as to how to shake them all. Let me get Deuteronomy 30 and 1.
It's Deuteronomy 30 and 1. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curse.
Now pause right there. We so removed from the blessings that our ancient forefathers experienced that we like what blessings? But we'll ask ourselves about a King Solomon. We'll ask ourselves about a King David. We'll ask ourselves about a time when we had a nation with autonomy of our own. It had to happen. We can see it in history. We can see the other nations talking about us. So we had to have been blessed at some point, but now we know we cursed. Right? Go ahead.
And have come upon thee the blessings and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among.
Now we reflecting on how these things have happened to us. Right. Mainly the bullshit, right? It said we're going to reflect on the curses and the blessings. Go ahead.
All the nations, whether the Lord thy God has driven thee, and thou shalt return to the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day.
Now, how hard are we taught to obey the Most High's voice at church, for example? How many times have you heard Jesus died for your sins so you don't have to keep the law anymore? But they're lying to us. Why? Because it's a benefit in keeping the chosen people of God down, keeping them from obeying, because the Bible says if we return to him and obey his voice, what's going to happen?
This is Deuteronomy 28 and 7. And the Lord thy God shall put all these curses upon thy enemy.
No. Go back to the top, because that's the sweet part. We want to get there. Because what would happen if you saw today that your enemies become cursed and you get to look down on them for a change? We got more immediate issues to deal with, like getting our shit together, and this is the motivation. Go ahead.
Right, and shall return to the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to that to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children.
Thou and thy children, meaning we gotta teach the next generation. The same way we was taught the bullshit, we gotta teach the good shit. Right, go ahead.
With all thy heart and with all thy soul. Then
give me 1 second, I'm sorry.
Hello? Melting pot, everybody come around and do whatever they want and chase a dream, and y'all worship these different gods and all that. It could be.
Could be.
But in the ancient days, a nation started with a common ancestor. Watch this.
Okay.
This the alternate. This is the ESV. It says, but you are a chosen race.
A chosen race.
A royal priesthood.
So that generation, it means you come from a common genetics, right? You come from a bloodline. When you deal with race in the ancient concept, you're not talking about skin color, you're talking about a common ancestor. So First Peter is saying that you are a chosen race. So who are these people from this chosen race?
They say it's all special people.
Now
they might be proclaim the praise of him and call you out the darkness to the marvelous light.
Woo! Now, watch this. Isaiah 60 and 1.
I can get so deep into it, y'all, but I really think that
somebody watching, supervisor watching.
Yeah.
Look, we're gonna have a Bible study tomorrow.
What about?
We're gonna do it online.
Oh, okay.
That way it's convenient.
King Corn beats be killing shit.
We was powers on this earth once, and we was all about the mirth once. Idol worship, murder like the first of the month. Hit a nigga with the bick like he need a light. That's what you do when you on fourth, or else you got a punt. But we ain't needed when we cry for Egypt's flesh, nah. So it's Egypt that we got, and we hella mad. These crackers soaring off our shoulders like some hella pads. They see our sweat, but they don't feel us like we holograms. I'll be damned, another black man shot again.